Hi, it's Eric Coffin. I'm here at the Metal Investors Forum, September 15th, 2017. I'm here with Adam Travis, CEO of Colorado Resources. As many of you probably know, Colorado is the largest or second largest claim holder in the Golden Triangle. Adam and his guys have been extremely busy the last 3 or 4 years working on several different areas. He just put out some results, including one of the most spectacular visual drill holes you'll ever see, with what, about 4,000 grams per ton in the intersection?
Yeah, 4,470 grams, Eric. It translated to over 130 ounces per ton. Just some beautiful coarse gold, like the Golden Triangle's famous for.
Now, this being September, I mean, you just put out a large batch of holes, but I know from your work last year, and actually this company is working at the property of another company I follow, really efficient, really great drillers. You know, how much more is coming? I mean, how many more holes do you think you'll be able to report? And where are you focusing for the remainder of the program?
A lot of good questions, Eric. Our last news release, we said that we'd completed 40 drill holes in phase 1 of our program, and we released the results for 20 of those. So just in that one phase, there's 20 more drill holes to come. But keep in mind, you know, with the support of Goldcorp in our recent financing and the results that we were getting, we elected to just keep on drilling. So we've rolled that into phase 2 already, and we're basically, I think we have in the order of, somewhere in the order of north of 50 drill holes that we've completed so far. And keep in mind, depending on where you're drilling or the depth of the target, some of our drill holes, we're drilling them in as short as 1 day, okay, right? And so we're just taking it day by day now, but we've probably got another into October if Mother Nature cooperates for us. Lots of more results. If you just say we stopped drilling today, which of course we're not, results from that would be 5 or 6 weeks away. So, you know, if we keep drilling into say mid-October, 5 or 6 weeks from the mid-October, what does that do? And I had a busy day. I can't.
You're basically well into just, you know, end of November, early December.
Yeah, and you still have results out. And keep in mind, Eric, that that's just one of the projects we're working on now.
Well, that's something else that I wanted to touch on at the end of your presentation here. You put up a rather interesting map, and it was interesting to the crowd. I mean, I think a lot of you that are watching this video, if you're keeping track of the sector, you know, there's a company called GT Gold that had a big win, a nice discovery. You know, Adam knows all the guys really well. You guys are all friends.
Yep.
But also, importantly, if you take a look on the claim map for the camp, you'll find that there's essentially only one public company that's got ground bordering GT Gold, and it's on 2, if not 3 sides, and that's Colorado Resources. Now, with that discovery, like, have you been able to kind of shift things around a little bit to maybe get a bit of work done over in that, just to kind of remind people that it's there?
Yeah, I mean, we certainly had a busy last couple months, right? Took Seabridge out of our joint venture to earn 100% in KSP. We brought Goldcorp in as a strategic investor, and of course, you know, we're drilled 8,100 meters at KSP. But you know, kudos and hats off to the GT Gold guys for making that nice new discovery. In the meantime, while we were busy doing that, we certainly have, as you point out, the only public company to have ground basically on either side of GT Gold. People may remember us for our North Rock discovery in 2013. That's on the east boundary of where GT Gold is. But on the west, where their saddle discovery is kind of nestled a little far to their western border, we're literally, I think, 700 meters away from their discovery at the saddle zone. We have our Kiniscan property, and certainly, you know, with the excitement of GT Gold, although it wasn't a focus for us earlier in the year, we got back, met with our geologist and started to dust off the old maps and do a lot of compilation, and that was one of the maps. Literally, I pulled out my paper copy map in the presentation today that said we've got ground bordering GT Gold saddle discovery. There's a 5-kilometer east-west trend. We've now learned from GT Gold that they're seeing this east-west trend. Well, that's great, right? The more work they do and the more their drills start moving towards the west, well, they're coming towards our property. And we're not just doing this on nothing. There was some historical work from the 1980s and the 2000s, and this 5-kilometer trend of alteration and even just obvious rusty rocks. I've now had the opportunity to be up on the castle property in the last couple days, and just as a spirit of cooperation, the GT Gold guys actually let me borrow their helicopter for the time, right?
Nice.
And so now we've got our own helicopter up there stationed. We've got an IP crew that's doing the geophysics. It's the same IP crew that works on the GT Gold ground, and soil sampling and advancing that target. And so I think we'll be in a position to drill that next year, Eric.
So based on your historic stuff, but I mean more to the point, obviously based on the work that GT's done and the discovery they've made. You know, whenever somebody talks about being next door to a discovery, you know, it's one thing to be next door, it's another thing to be on trend. So there's a fair amount of comfort with you and GT and, you know, everybody that the dominant trend you're dealing with here is an east-west one?
Oh yeah, 100% confident that the dominant trend. I mean, at this stage, I think you may find with more drilling there may be sub-trends within that, but you don't have to be literally a geologist. You know, you can just fly out on that ground. You can trace this east-west alteration system on our portion of the ground for 5 kilometers, and you can basically, I would call it almost like a golden highway, if you will. There is a corridor there of about 200 to 300 meters wide by 5 kilometers long, and you don't have to be a rocket scientist to sort of go follow this anomalies and the historical work up over the hill. Oh, there's GT Gold discovery. So geological base maps have been done by the government in that area, although they probably do with some updating, but they've also seen these east-west thrusts and systems. So we've got geochemistry, we've got alteration, we've got some historical work. Keep in mind, it's not only alteration, but there's historical samples that were taken by people like Teck in the 1980s, where they got things up to 138 grams per ton gold in individual grab samples. So we know this is a very pregnant system, and it's very underexplored. At first, it was explored for porphyries back in the 60s, and then again in the 2000s when we made the North Rock discovery. So it's not like we're starting from scratch, but like I say, as much as I want to stay focused on KSP, I was able to find and take a portion of my crew, and they're up there right now, working away.
Well, you've been, you know, you guys are, Colorado, some of the originals in the camp, you were the ones that stuck around when a lot of people left. You know, I mean, I think when you're an explorer, it's always nice to see someone make a big discovery, but sometimes you kind of go like, yeah, you know, the guy next door made the discovery. But I think it's good to remind people that you know, because I think a lot of people have there's been so much focus on KSP and North Rock, which has a resource. I just think a lot of people didn't realize that, you know, if anyone that's looking for what's a long trend, I mean, you're it, basically. It's a pretty exciting addition to the story that's already pretty exciting. Yeah,
I mean, when you are like I say, I've been off and on there for 30 years. I remember being at the headwaters of that creek, Quash Creek, not far from the Saddle discovery. Hey, I wished I was the guy that made that discovery. When they actually staked the ground, the claim staker friend of mine who did that ground for what eventually years later became GT Gold, we looked at it and we said, we've had the ground up on top of the hill over here on this mountain and this mountain. Why are they staking this ground down low? And lo and behold, and to their credit, and lots of, you know, there's 5 years of history here where we've watched guys like Clinton Smythe, one of the original geologists that found it. So these things take time, and hats off to these guys. But yeah, there's a strong trend there. It's just obvious.
Yeah, lots of excitement still to come from the Golden Triangle. Thanks for being with us today,
thanks,
Adam.
Eric. I appreciate it.
Thanks for watching.